international panel. So thank you very much, Sean, from the US. We're very happy of this international connection. And we were saying that we're working on putting together the digital and the analogic together. So we'll work on this. And we rely on both the people that are online. I see a few names, Diego Flores, and I see also Tony Nader already connected up. And also the people that are. Thank you very much, Sean, from the US. We're very happy of this international connection. And we were saying that we're working on putting together. And I can hear myself, which is terrible, because I realize I really speak with a very acute voice. Okay, so Sean, thank you very much. And the floor is yours.
Thank you. And we have about 2 minutes before we go live. We're already broadcasting live on YouTube. We're broadcasting live on Facebook. We have people from all around the world joining us. And again, thank you so much, Daniela, for kind of explaining how this will go. And I appreciate the Italian. We have right now, I just want to check in with Chris and Daniela and the team there to make sure that the correct link was sent out. If Chris wants to check his email, the presenter link is there right now. Our only presenter signed online is Dr. Tony Nader. So if we seem to be missing Pietro Bartolo, who's kicking things off. So if you want to get some of the other folks signed on or get them to click on that link, the correct link has been emailed to Chris's email. And if somebody in Rome wants to give me a heads up on that you're going to check on it. What we're going to do is we'll go live in about 1 minute on Zoom. Again, already broadcasting live on the Facebook as well as the YouTube of Villaggio della Pace. And we are going to then take questions both on Zoom and from the group there in Rome. What I will do is go through the bios of the people who are going to be joining us today. I believe Pietro Bartolo will speak for a few moments. And I know Dr. Tony Nader is with us, and he is going to be taking our first questions. So that'll kick things off, and it'll show you how things are going to flow. We are going live now all around the world. We're very happy to be with you. Again, my name is Shawn Diddy, and I am your host. I'm joining you from Fairfield, Iowa, actually, which is where Maharishi International University is. And we're very happy to have our production assistant with us. Diego Flores is a senior at Pasadena Memorial High School in the Houston, Texas area. So Diego will be behind the scenes helping all of our wonderful counselors to sign on. As well as helping things to flow. So there's Diego. And again, I know that Dr. Tony Nader is behind the scenes. I want to give you an idea of some of the people that are joining us today. Pietro Bartolo is an Italian doctor and politician. He's best known for having been from 1992 to 2019, the person in charge of the visits to help migrants disembarking in Lampedusa. And I do want to let you know that I am from the US, so my Italian is very small, and my accent is not great, so please forgive me. Today is, of course, the International Day of Peace. It's observed all around the world on September 21st. Villaggio della Pace gives youth from all around the world the opportunity to express their opinions, to ask questions of world leaders, and to propose new ideas to build an inclusive, non-discriminatory society based on peace and human rights. This is being co-hosted by Utopian and then the City of Rome. Again, this particular session is being sponsored by MIU, Maharishi International University. We are, as I mentioned, a university that is consciousness-based, meaning everyone here practices transcendental meditation. We're very much focused on health and well-being. As you may know, the Nobel Prize is sometimes awarded to organizations. Now, between 1901 and 2019, 24 organizations overall have been given the Nobel Prize, Peace Prize, and 3 of those organizations are being represented today. So we will get through in the bios and let you know who those folks are. Tony Nader, MD, PhD, MARR is with us. He's a medical doctor trained at Massachusetts Institute of Technology. He has a PhD in neuroscience and Harvard University trained as well. He's globally recognized as a Vedic scholar. And as Maharishi Mahesh Yogi's successor, Dr. Nader is the head of the International Transcendental Meditation Organizations in over 100 countries. He is host of a very popular podcast. He has millions of followers. And if you want to follow him, it's called Consciousness is All There Is. You can follow him on Facebook and on Instagram at Dr. Tony Nader. And you can read all about him and find where he'll be if you go to his website, drtonynader.com. Licia Bevilacqua, and again, we'll have them help with the names. Very important for her to be with us today because she's a school principal with over 10 years of extensive experience training teachers and principals, also in collaboration with universities. She has contributed to preparation manuals for school principals. She's currently directing the Italian Ministry of Education support of scholastic autonomy. She's also very involved with interreligious dialogue and to promote the knowledge and dissemination of Jewish culture in schools. We have several different religions actually represented today, and this is all about peace. We have Anna Maria Aisha Tiazzo, and she is an Italian Muslim professional active in the field of export strategies and the impact of Islamic religious rules for markets. And this is all around the world, so not limited to, but in particular, Southeast Asia and the Gulf region. She's the founder and first woman in the sector of the Italian Halal Certification Center. And she also has a particular expertise in the field of cosmetics and halal chemicals, which promoted her company to be chosen by the largest international beauty fair, Cosmoprof, to create and lead the first world pavilion on halal cosmetics and spas. And I actually was present at Cosmoprof, so it is interesting how the world comes all together here. She is, again, a Muslim-friendly supporter and sponsor of Muslim youth, and she is ready to have a dialogue with you. Amado Siacheri is the president of the 8th municipality of Rome. He's an Italian activist. He's actually in the hall in Rome today, so he'll be joining us with Daniela Patti, who is the representative from Utopian that you met at the very beginning. And Daniela will be helping us to facilitate questions. Amadio is an Italian activist, as I mentioned. He's a politician, born in Rome. He attended several types of schools, and he is definitely very much interested in peace. He actually was the protagonist of the mobilizations against Moriarty's school reform. He participated in the University Wave movement. He is very much committed as a street educator to find different paths to defend the right to education. And he will be joining us. Again, he is the spokesman of the civic and left political movement Liberare Roma, and he will be in the hall with us. Continuing, again, Daniela and Chris, if you want to check on those links, the link has been sent to Chris's email. We're continuing to wait for more of our counselors to sign in. Imran Yaha Sergio Yahe Pallavicini is also in the hall with us today. He's the president and Imam of the Italian Islamic religious community. Again, since 2006, he's been a consultant to the interior of the Islamic Council and the president of the Council for Education and Culture in the West. Joining us as well, one of the 1,000 people, that is a very small number, that are women who have been nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize. We are going to get to speak with Luisa Morgantini, and she is strongly committed to peace and the recognition of justice, rights, and freedom in Palestine. She's the former vice president of the European Parliament, and she's one of the founders of the International Network of Women in Black Against War and Violence, and moreover, in the national coordination of the Association for Peace. One of the Nobel Prize laureate organizations is the Amnesty International organization, and we have Claudio Nicosia will be joining us from that organization. We have Umberto Piperno is joining us. He obtained the Simica from the Italian Rabbinical College in Rome in 1983. He was a coordinator and teacher of the Italian Rabbinical College from 83 to 86. And now he has moved to Rome since 2012, and he's working in the Bet Shalom Synagogue, and he's working as well toward peace. And I see, Diego, we have someone else signing in. So hello and welcome to our counselor who's signing in. And Diego, our assistant, will get you signed in and get your name put up on the screen. One of the other Nobel laureate organizations is the Red Cross, and that is recognized today. Adriano Donatos, or one of his representatives, will be joining us. Again, you are very familiar, I'm sure, of the work of the Red Cross. They provide strategic reference framework that guides action. This particular group to Italy, but this is a global group. And we do have students from all around the world joining us. We have Maharishi International University students, several people from Italy. We have questions that are coming in already. If you do have a question, you go to the Q&A at the bottom of your screen, and you'll be able to type your question in. We'd love to hear your name and how old you are and where you're from. If you would like to, you can ask anonymously, but this is about working together as a group. And we also want you to be able to meet these dignitaries. One of the dignitaries also joining us, the director of the Italian National Youth Agency, Licia Bevilacqua, and she will be joining us. Again, she collaborated with Save the Children in Italy, and she also works on numerous projects of cultural regeneration in the suburbs and taught communications and social planning. Toward the end of our session, we have 2 more people joining us from 8 to 8:30 Fairfield time, 3 to 3:30 in Rome. Paula Marquez is the city councilor for local development and housing policies, and I know that's an important topic for many folks. And then Asadi Shams, who is a human rights commissioner and the head of the Human Rights Office in the City of Vienna. We had some workshops this morning, and there will be more workshops on the topics of humanitarian corridors, politics of the art of governing, and then green corridors, and then also circular economy. I'm going to kick things off, and thank you so much, everyone, for being with us, by talking with Dr. Tony Nader. So Dr. Nader, please feel free to unmute your microphone. We're so glad to have you with us. And I do see another counselor behind the scenes. Please either change your name to your name in the file there, or let Diego know what your name is. Welcome, Dr. Nader.
Thank you. Congratulations for this summit or assembly. It's a joy to be with you.
It's wonderful to have you. And you're such a nice fit for this summit, because one of the goals of Villaggio della Pace is promoting dialogue with youth on peace. So what are your suggestions to the next generation in regard to approaching or aligning with world leaders, like the rest of the people in this session, in regard to making an effective change?
It's very important to recognize that peace starts within the individual. So when we are focusing on creating peace in the outside, between nations, between peoples, we have to realize that it is individuals who are the unit and the essence of peace. If we don't have peace within ourselves, then how can we create peace in the outside world? And different leaders are of different aspects of planning for peace, in terms of meetings, in terms of assemblies. You know, the United Nations was created after the Second World War, and before that, other associations and organizations have been created many times after conflicts, so that there will be no war anymore and no conflict anymore in the world. Yet it is all based on trying to create treaties and trying to create connections with different countries, even in the field of understanding peace. And ultimately, we see that this has not fully brought out the result or created the result that is needed. So between younger and older, there can be a difference. There is experience in the older, there is dynamism of the future in the younger generation. And we see this in different levels of society, where differences can be there and can actually be seeds of issues and seeds of problems. Different cultures, different traditions, different ways of understanding each other, of hopes. Some are more in the past. They want something stable and strong. Some want something to progress and grow. So there is conservatism, there is progressive feelings. Some look into becoming creators. Some want to create something that has already been established and maintain it. So there are these differences on the surface level of life. And peace ultimately is that level which is non-changing, which can unify differences. So where is that secret that can unify and uphold all differences? It is only available in the field which itself does not change, which is itself a field of infinite peace, and that is the field of pure consciousness, pure awareness. See, even in physics today, we have discovered that underlying all the outer expressions of life, underlying all the differences in the manifest aspect of creation, and these differences, as we said, can be so many and can be a cause for conflict, because there is a fear that what are the values of the other, be it in belief, be it in tradition, be it in expectation, be it in future versus past, present, etc., conservatism versus progressive attitudes, all of these differences can be a seed for conflict. But all these differences come from a unified field of natural law. If we look into physics, we find that the whole apparent and surface level of the dynamism of creation, of manifestation of the objects, are based on more elementary particles. You know, take any object and look at it. What is it made of? It is made out of molecules. Ultimately, molecules are made out of atoms. Atoms are made out of elementary particles. And then scientists have found that there are fields that construct these elementary particles, fields of energy. And they can appear as electricity, magnetism, weak forces, gravitational forces. But then as you dive deeper and deeper in nature, you find that these fields are more and more unified. For example, we know that electricity and magnetism are one and the same electromagnetic field appearing in different ways. And so the scientists have been able to unify deeper and deeper aspects of nature and to contemplate now one field, which is called the unified field of all the laws of nature, which is the source of all other fields, leading to all kinds of differences on the surface. And that is what the ancient tradition call the field of consciousness, in particular the Vedic tradition that has brought out this transcendental meditation, the yoga techniques, the mind techniques that help to go back to the self and establish oneself in the self and experience within oneself that unified field, that field of pure awareness, pure consciousness. And once we know that directly, not just intellectually, but we directly experience it, we gain inner peace, we gain inner strength, we gain inner creativity and intelligence that can then act and think towards the outside in accordance with the laws of nature that manage the entire universe. So whether we are old or new, what we need to do is go back to the self first. Don't look for peace outside. We look for peace within and establish peace within ourselves, and then we radiate peace in society. And scientific research has shown that when a small number of people practice transcendental meditation, go back to themselves, transcendental meditation means to transcend, means to go beyond the changing values, beyond the values that are source of conflict, to the value that is non-changing, the value of awareness in its pure form, pure consciousness. And then we find the common ground for progress and at the same time for laws of nature. Laws of nature means laws that construct the universe. And they are conservative in the sense that they are always the same. They are invincible, non-changing. There are laws that create change and manifestation, but themselves, the laws are non-changing. And therefore, we have this extremely conservative aspect of nature, which is the aspect of the laws being well-defined and non-changing. And we have this extremely progressive, advancing aspect of nature, which is always evolving in greater and greater waves of fulfillment, greater waves of discovery, greater waves of higher awareness and understanding. So this infinite progressive value and infinite conservative value are not a contradiction. It's only something we have to find within ourselves. And as we find it, whether we are old or new, whether we are leaders for 50, 60, 70 years in the world, or we are young and wanting to go out and change the world and make all these people understand what reality is, what we have to do is first establish it within ourselves, know it within ourselves, and use this as a platform, a springboard for development and growth and dynamism and change, but in tune with the laws of nature, in tune with the evolutionary power of life. So go back to the self, transcend, and then act. That is the solution. And when you deal with more experienced individuals in society, then learn from them their wisdom, their experience about the laws of nature, and teach them and guide them towards new technologies, new progress, and know this to be a field of oneness that has both silence, non-change, and yet is the source of all change in perfect balance towards a society that is dynamic, creative, but totally harmonious.
What a wonderful answer. And again, you talk more about that in your Consciousness is All There Is podcast, but you hit on the idea that we have both young people with us today and those who have been around for a while. So Dr. Tony Nader, I know you can hopefully stay with us for a bit. I think we have more questions coming in for you. Thank you. We have a couple of our counselors who have signed in on Zoom, and I'm going to ask them to please turn on their cameras and let us know who you are. We have two counselors behind the scenes right now, so if you are with us on Zoom, hi there. Please, and you can unmute your mic. I see your camera. There we go. And tell us your name. Oh, you're muted still. So if you want to unmute.
Sorry.
There we go.
Is
Okay.
okay.
Yes, tell us your name, please.
Hello, this is Shams Asadi. I'm the Human Rights Commissioner of the City of Vienna, and it's a great pleasure for me to be with you today. Thank you.
So glad you're with us. And Shams Asadi, we will be adjusting your name in your name bar there. And let me just, and then we have one more panelist, one more counselor who's online with us. So if you would like to turn on your camera and let us know who you are, you can turn on your camera and you can unmute. Asadi, while we have you with us, we'll just ask you a question. As we look at human rights, and I know you're the head of human rights, the Human Rights Office in the City of Vienna, there are a lot of students online with us right now. And I may ask this question to all the panelists. Civil rights are such a big thing. I'm in the United States, so we're seeing it here. I know you're seeing it in Italy. We're seeing it all around the world. What advice do you give a young person watching us today in regard to getting involved and really making a difference?
I mean, from one side, the young people, they have to get involved because it is the civil custody, just example that we have in the last years with Greta Thunberg. Nobody was thinking about young people can change the world in the sense of the environmental consciousness in this amount. So we see how important the young people they are. From the other side, from the local authority side, we have to just prepare the way for the young people in order to get involved in the just all over just whatever that happens in the society. I can give us a small example of City of Vienna in the last years, because City of Vienna just joined to the movement of the human rights cities just globally, and then we declared ourselves as a human rights city. But what does it mean? It means human rights and all of the rights that they are in 30 items of human rights. They are guidelines for us in order for us to take the decisions, to make the policies for the future of the city. And right of the child is one of those most important items for us. And we started with a huge participation project, and we asked to more than 22,000 young people from, 6 until 18, how do you see the future of Vienna in the next 5 years? And then we prepared like a action plan for our next few years, at least next 5 years, to implement what the young people they desire and they wish for our city. So it is a kind of involvement example for involving the young people. And I'm so happy, and this is the result. It is only in German. It is just a very summary of the result. And young people, they want to have a good environment. They want to have good public spaces. They want to have digitalization of the city, and they want to just learn how we live together. And living together means we have to respect the different cultures, different ages, and different beliefs, and different just philosophy of life. So human rights again comes to this area because all of us, we live in Vienna, and 40% of Vienna, they are born in some different country. So we have to learn to go with completely respect to each other along, and then just if it's religion, if it is the way of life, or if it is the sexual orientation or whatever, we have to respect each other. And I'm very happy and I'm very proud of our young people that they want to just have the respect for the future.
Thank you. And it's wonderful to have you with us. I see we have an entire room full of people in a hall in Rome, and we'll put them on camera momentarily. In fact, Daniela, I don't know if any questions have come up from the room. I'm going to ask one of the questions right now that came up from one of the MIU students, and maybe the folks in the room can consider this as well, and we can start a dialogue. And as you know, Asadi and even Dr. Nader and our other counselors and panelists, if you have some thoughts. And first off, Andrew prefaces with this. He says, I realize the tone of these questions are not calming, but if these questions are not brought up to the forefront of the issues on peace, I don't feel that there's anything actually being done with these conversations on the ideals of peace, nor acts toward peace. So first off, thank you, Andrew Rizzo, college student, and we have many international students with us, for acknowledging that these are tough topics. And that's why we're here, to peacefully talk about ways that we can really make a difference. And so he asks, how does the room feel knowing that progress throughout history, even now, cannot be met without violence on either side of the issues? Is this the only way to evolve into a better world? He says, no platitudes or cliches, please, already dealing with the political strife here in the USA. But he says, and I'm going to kind of skip through some of this, but he just says, what is your thought on, do you think that violence is actually necessary? And I'm going to open that up to the room if there's anybody that wants to talk about that, but also Asadi, do you have a comment on that?
I mean, I would say violences, you know, they are existing in a society, but it is the question that how do you solve these conflicts in the society? And of course, in a society like in a city, if you try to come up with inclusion measures, or if you come up with equality measures, you know, in one society, why conflicts happen? Because of the inequalities in the society. And if you try to bring the inequality just in a month that, you know, no inequality in just in economic life or in education or school system and everything, you bring peace from different way to the society. And I believe it is very important, an inclusive society, the potential of conflicts they will be reduced. But conflicts all the time in the history of the mankind, there is conflicts, but it is the question how we solve the conflicts, among each other, or even if for the time being, the world has the most asylum seekers ever. You know, what we do, look at what happens in Greece and look at what happens in different parts of the world. So, and I guess there is a lot of, you know, our politicians, and we have to consciousness building. And of course, for me, just bringing the young people to the politics and just try them to be themselves politicians in order to bring peace in the world for the future, at least.
Thank you. And Dr. Nader, I know it's your life's work to actually help remove conflicts in society, and your goal is to have higher values and goals become a priority. Is there something realistic that people watching could do to create a positive change? And your reaction to the thought of violence, if you'd like to share that.
See, we have to think of a new paradigm if we want a new situation. The old things that have been usually used, and if they have failed, I think we have to start thinking what is the reason why we are not coming to success. On the surface level, obviously, if you give every individual a chance to evolve, if they are peaceful within themselves, if they are acting in accordance with the laws of their society, of their country, if they have opportunities, if they don't feel that they are being abused or misrespected, and all of these things that we know about that maybe are the cliches that have been alluded to, then you would expect more balance and less conflict. I feel what is needed is for the collective consciousness to be improved. And that is something which might not be tangible in the sense that what is consciousness already, that is a big question. It is difficult from a scientific perspective to analyze what is consciousness, but we know that this is the most important aspect in our own life. Because if we don't have consciousness, for example, you're under anesthesia, then you don't care what's going on either in your society or to yourself or your body or anything, because you're not conscious. So we analyze things, we see things, we experience things, we dream about things, we make decisions about things through awareness, through consciousness. And normally we have been thinking that consciousness is either you are conscious or you are not conscious, or you are sleeping or you are dreaming. So there are different states of consciousness. What we have studied and we have shown is that consciousness, and we know this, it's obvious, can be different for different times, different individuals, different clarity, different depths. Even ourselves, when we wake up and have had a good night's sleep, then we are more clear, then we can see things more clearly and make the right decisions. But if we are tired and fatigued and afraid, and the media is bombarding us with things that create fear, then we are afraid. Naturally, we feel as if we are back in the jungle. And in the jungle, it activates the limbic system, the lower parts of our nervous system, and get us into a fight or flight response. So as if these are the only two alternatives, and flying away doesn't seem right because we want to have things achieved. And then what is the other solution? The other solution appears to be as if it is go ahead and fight. And that is where you can say, I cannot but justify that violence is the fight towards my rights. However, I would really call this a basic response due to situations and circumstances that are forcing the individual to act because there is no other choice. Now, there is another choice. There definitely is another choice, and it's a scientific choice. And that choice is to develop the full potential of the individual. You know, it's like saying, go back to yourself. Well, it sounds like I am flying away, I am running away, and therefore I'm not being responsible. But actually, if you take your time, go back to yourself, activate the full potential that we have as human beings, and use that in a creative way, it is certainly possible to find solutions that do not require violence. That is using the higher aspect of our reality as human beings. We have that other aspect, also the aspect of fighting and all of that. It's part of us, but there is a higher aspect. The higher aspect is raise our consciousness, use our full potential. Every human being has huge potential. You know, in the different religions that we have, and it's honored to have, you know, it's been said humans are created in the image of God. In the Veda, it's been said we are totality, we are Brahman. In the Christian tradition, you know, the kingdom of heaven is within you. In the you know, Islamic tradition, consider yourself to be an atom in which the whole universe has folded itself, and it says that the angels bowed down when the humans came. You know, it sounds like I'm talking science and suddenly I jump to religion, because that is wisdom. And what we want to say is all this wisdom throughout the ages attributes to the humans a very high level of reality. And that is because we have a nervous system that allows us to have higher level of consciousness, therefore to be able to make right decisions and to be able to have a collective consciousness that is conducive to peace. That is something that is very important also. In the same way as we have individual consciousness, the society has a collective awareness, a collective consciousness. If the individuals in the society are stressed and tense and fearful, then the collective consciousness is a collective consciousness of stress and strain and fear. And in that state, like the individual going to the fight or flight response using only the lower part of the brain, knowing the actual instinctive part of protecting ourselves, which is important and necessary, but is not enough for human society. For human society, we have to use the higher intelligence and we have to change the collective awareness. How do we do that? By going back to the self as an individual and as a group. And we have done research on that. When a number of people practice transcendental meditation and its advanced techniques in a society, and we have reference, it's 1%, we know when we pass the chain and get to the actual response. 1% of a society practicing this transcending means 1% of the people calming down, going back to the self. They create an entrainment effect where the others also are feeling more peaceful, and this is how you get actually a scientifically studied response of decrease in criminality, decrease in violation of law, decrease even in accidents of the roads, decrease in admissions to the hospitals. That sounds fantastic and out of this world, but it is real. It is real. Consciousness is real, awakening one's consciousness and the collective consciousness is something real that creates the effect. And with more advanced techniques, actually, we have found that only the square root of 1% of a population in a society practicing these programs together create this effect, which we call, in honor of the founder of this technique, Maharishi effect, that really is the effect that has been studied and published even in scientific journals and recognized scientific journals of great importance with peer reviews. And they show that this effect is there. And the publisher said, it is unusual, it is unexpected, but the science has been so accurate and it was done proactively and all of that, that we cannot refuse to publish it. So we use wisdom, but science also, and verify it in science, raise the collective consciousness, raise individual awareness, and we don't need to resort to violence. We find solutions that are growing, protective, supportive, progressive, at the same time in tune with the laws of the nation and the laws of society, and can really create peace in a scientific way.
And my background is actually as a journalist. So I spent 20 years in television and covering health as a health reporter as well. My master's degree was in mass communications. I'm, full disclosure, getting my PhD at Maharishi International University, and my dissertation is actually on the effect of transcendental meditation on mental health. So I've read that study and many studies, and it is in a very well-respected journal. So this is something we're talking about. And Asadi, I just want to ask you, do we have limited time with you? Because a question has come in for you. And we also have a question for Imam Pallavicini, who is in the hall. So Asadi, how's your time frame?
I mean, half an hour I will be with you.
Okay, so what we'll do, if it's okay, we'll go to the hall.
Yeah.
And then we'll
Sure.
come back to you for your questions.
Yes,
So we're
yes.
going to go live to the hall in Rome right now, where Daniela Patti is, she is the representative of Utopian. She is one of their executives, and she's actually with our live group there. We have Imam Pallavicini with us, again, president and imam of the Italian Islamic religious community. So we would like to speak with him if that's possible. We've had some questions come in just about peace in general. I do want to give what we refer to as a shout out. We have some students from Anzio who have sent in some questions. So hello to Pino, Gianfranco, Luigi, Ciro, and Carmine, who sent some questions in about infrastructure, and we will get those to the correct people. Hello to Zaria, who has a question from Maharishi International University. And again, if you have questions and you're with us live online, go to the bottom of your page. There's a Q&A there, and you can ask the question. We love to know where you are, where you're from, and your age, if you'd like to share it with us, as this is about youth, and then also some of the more established folks, world leaders, getting together and talking. So we see the Imam now is on camera, so feel free to unmute in the Rome area. And hello. Thank you for joining us. And could you just please give us your overview of how you feel that the youth who are joining us today on this live stream could really do something that could possibly bring about more peace?
Thank you for the question. I would not know. I can just try to give you the experience of what we are trying to do, at least in Europe and in Italy, sharing with other religious leaders a common engagement. And our solution would be training and education. Because in order to have a more positive and concrete relations and avoid violence and injustice and misunderstanding, we need to have a correct approach to learn and accept the other as he is, as she is. And so the richness of humanity, as far as I can understand, is something we really need to open to know. But there is a cultural training in order to understand internal and external differences. And unfortunately, violence sometimes is a very silly solution in order to prevent persons to open from the knowledge of oneself and from the knowledge of the other. So our intention in engaging in interfaith dialogue is actually to open to the better knowledge of the richness of the variety of humanity and of communities and of identities. We should not brainwash communities or create a standardization, but we should rather respect differences and try to engage through bridges in a mutual cooperation. Pope Francis has engaged with the Muslim community worldwide on brotherhood, which can be another key word, if you like. But nevertheless, we have to accept that there is a negative tendency in our souls that unfortunately guide us to negative, selfish, personal interests. So that's where I think religions try to guide believers to take into account the negative side of our souls and the positive approach towards the world and towards the others. And so this is how, if I well understood, we can try to find a wise balance between religious wisdom and intelligence, and also, of course, science. But let us not repeat the former mistakes of creating of science a new religion, or of putting a religion against another. We should rather respect differences and engage in cooperation. But I'm glad to learn more from you. Thank you.
Oh, thank you very much. Does anyone in the hall in Rome have a question that he or she would like to put forward on camera?
Io faccio un attimo di traduzione anche in italiano, perché chi volesse fare delle domande, dei commenti anche in italiano, e poi vi traduciamo, perché ci sono stati degli stimoli, sicuramente per esempio dall'Imam, da Tony Nader, and I apologize for the little Italian break, apologies. Però per esempio anche una domanda ai ragazzi. Asadi Shams da Vienna raccontava che hanno fatto tutta un'iniziativa a Vienna per raccogliere l'input dei ragazzi, per sapere da Fridays for Future, dalle iniziative diciamo civiche anche dei ragazzi, quali sono le loro istanze che possono essere incorporate dalle iniziative del comune. Forse al momento noi questo a Roma non l'abbiamo fatto, magari voi ci volete raccontare delle cose che invece voi avete cercato di raccontare anche fuori e di farvi ascoltare, magari volete fare anche chiedere magari a Vienna o agli altri panelist come hanno fatto, per vedere anche un pochino, di farvi ascoltare ancora di più rispetto a quello che siete riusciti a fare fino ad adesso. O magari avete una domanda che non c'entra niente con quello che ho appena suggerito.
And here's what we'll do. Thank you so much. It's so neat to be all around the world with so many languages. We have a Gabby Raydan, an MIU student from Lebanon, has actually just asked a question. So if it's all right with you, we'll go to that question, and I'm going to mute the hall in Rome for just a moment while, if someone wants to get ready to ask a question, you all can let me know via WhatsApp, and we'll get ready to go back right to the hall. So Gabby, let us put your question forward. And Asadi, I think that this might be one for you as well, just to maybe give thoughts, and then we'll go to our other panelists. She says, I believe that if the world isn't ready for change, it won't change. But I also believe in the power of people. Just like I'm here willing to take part in the process, a lot of people want to as well. And I believe that I believe in those people because those people will lead us to world peace. But we need ways, we need to help to unite as one and create that change. What do you think are the ways to unite young people and to help young change makers create that shift in the world? And Asadi, I know you work with human rights, rights of the child, combating human trafficking, so many of the important issues to these students. So how do you think specifically these young change makers can create a shift?
There is two ways. One way that young people, they organize themselves, without any help, or at least, like a civil society movement. From the other side, preparing the way for the young people. for us, for elderly people, for just, you know, the authorities or the national governments or just local governments, just we have to listen to what the young people they say. We have to listen to the way that they want to live, or they want they want to live in the future. From one side, I see we just people, that grown-up people, that we are in positions and functions, that we have to listen to the young people. And I mean, all of us, we have been young, we were young anytime, and then we have a lot of experiences that we have not heard, or just we couldn't change, and something like that. And we have to be like our generation or grown-up generation, open-minded to enough to listen to the young people. From the other side, the young people, they have to really get involved in the society, because you cannot, you know, expect that future is going to change if you are in I don't know, in your computer games. You know, computer game also can change a little bit the society, but involvement is very important. To be just I don't know, to be somehow, you know, just curious, just to learn and to go to the deep end in the society and to ask questions. You know, we have to be, I mean, I go to the schools and I have a lot of conversations with the young people. I'm so happy that I have the opportunity to go to the young people and to go to societies that they are in the society. And we have to have a real good dialogue with each other. And young people, they shouldn't be shy in order to just it is civil society, or it is the local authority, or it's our minister or the mayor. We have to come together and we have to speak with each other. And I'm really very much just insisting to have dialogue with each other. And you know, we heard that the religious people, or just listen to the Imam from Italy, that respect and listening to each other and just deciding together. And I guess it is the most important question, you know, just a little bit of just changing our minds and just having openness to different opinions.
Thank you. Do you have any suggestions for women in today's society? And a couple of questions have come in, so I'm rounding them into one question. We mentioned earlier that only 1,000 women to this point, or around that number, have been nominated for a Nobel Peace Prize. Only a few women are actually in governmental positions at this time, and we have a lot of women online with us today that are young, that are wanting to get into these positions. Do you have words to share with them?
Yes, I have a lot of words to share with young people. You know, just from one side, I see the young women, they don't trust themselves. They don't trust because they think the male their college or just colleagues they are more experienced, or they have more skills. But we women, we do have the same qualification. So we have to apply for jobs, and we have to fight for getting the good jobs, and we have to help each other. And I guess what's very important, you have the female networks everywhere that we work together, or just we live together. We have to have good networks and functioning networks in order to help each other. And I think just self-consciousness is very important for young female, that they are finishing the university, but you know, applying for job. And even I look at, there is lots of applications that they come to my office, and if you see, even if you cover the names, I can really just tell you, the way that female and male, they apply for a job, you can see it is a female and it's a male. We have to have an equal just way of application. But our societies, they have also, if we have the equal payment everywhere. Look at the Europe. look at to my country, we don't have still equal payment for female and the male for the same job. So we have to, change the world from one side individually, from one side with networks, from the other side. We have to change the world through the systems that they are existing. And I guess, look, for the first time we have in Europe, the first lady that she has the chair of the commission. And we have to get the real good jobs, and we have to really to come to the places that we make the decisions. And it is very important to have the women in all levels of decision making. It is just my advice to young women, that don't be afraid, go ahead and just try to get the same qualifications. And we do have the qualifications, even just go forward.
Thank you. And Asadi Shams, we're so glad that you're with us again, Human Rights Commissioner and the head of the Human Rights Office of the City of Vienna. Please stay with us as long as you can. We'll keep giving you questions as long as you're on camera, but I know you have duties today, so when you need to sign off, but we just want to thank you. And please keep sending in your questions. You can type them into the Q&A at the bottom of your screen. I believe we may even have a couple of students coming on camera with us to ask their questions. We are going to go back to the hall in Italy right now. We're going to go to Daniela. I believe that there is a question that is coming in. So I will wait for you to adjust your camera and get it to the person who's asking the question, and then we'll go to you live. I'll take just a moment to explain what we're doing here. This is Villaggio della Pace. And again, I am Sean Diddy. I'm from the United States, so my Italian accent is terrible. We have people from all around the world. We've had Lebanon check in. We've had France. Obviously, there's a hall full of people in Italy. We have our assistant, Diego Flores, who is a senior at Pasadena Memorial High School in the Houston, Texas, USA area. So people from all over. And we're talking about peace. We're also talking about some very important topics, humanitarian corridors, politics of the art of governing, green corridors, and circular economy. So I see that we are ready now to go live to Rome. We have a question that's coming up, and you'll let us know if you'd like to put this forward to all of the panelists or a specific panelist. And we'd also like to know your name, where you're from, and if you want to share your age, you can. So go ahead and unmute, and we're hearing live from Rome right now.
Saluto tutti intanto e ringrazio per l'invito di questa giornata. Mi volevo ricollegare un po' al discorso dell'insegnante, se non erro, viennese, dell'insegnante viennese.
L'assessore all'inclusione sociale,
all'inclusione
alle politiche umane.
Ha dato comunicazione di esperienze viennesi in tema di integrazione Io, dei giovani, in maniera particolare dei giovani, e quindi da dirigente scolastico mi sono sentita un po' chiamata in causa, anche perché ti
traduco perché così ti seguono anche, perdonami. Sì. So I'm doing just a moment of live translation also for who's following us. So thanks to the I'll take this off. Thanks to the input also coming from Asadi Shams and also from Tony Nader, also about especially the role also about inclusion in youngsters. As the head of a school, she absolutely felt that she also had to give her testimony also of what is happening on the ground.
È chiaro che nel dialogo della pace sono condivisibili tutte le espressioni, tutto quanto è stato detto, sia in termini laici dai nostri amici che sono collegati in rete, sia chiaramente dalle parole dell'Imam che faccio mie perché condivise pienamente. Ritengo che il dialogo interreligioso, soprattutto nella scuola, anche nella scuola, debba essere al centro proprio di quelle politiche di formazione e di informazione che devono caratterizzare quello che è il mondo della scuola. Anche perché...
Scusa, se no poi mi dimentico cosa è stato detto e ne perde l'intervento, quindi provo a tradurre come meglio posso. The word that we're absolutely shared, both from let's say more laic and religious inputs that came today about especially the opportunity and the importance of creating moments of dialogues and interreligious dialogues also in the school are fundamental for what we create in our society.
L'inclusione proprio uno dei temi, anzi l'integrazione. Io partirei dall'inserimento, dall'integrazione e dall'inclusione delle persone migranti nel nostro caso, nei nostri discorsi, insomma in quello che è stato il focus tematico di oggi, debba partire dalla scuola, perché è proprio la scuola che è la prima istituzione in assoluto che incontra, diciamo, le famiglie e i minori o comunque i migranti che arrivano nella scuola. E poi perché si instaura immediatamente un rapporto di tipo solido e di tipo stabile, e ancora per tutte le dinamiche che ne vengono fuori da questo rapporto, che comunque è continuo e, ripeto, stabile, perché dalla scuola e nella scuola che parte quel principio di integrazione che mette nelle condizioni tutti noi come persona di dare il meglio di noi stessi e sviluppare le potenzialità di ciascuno.
So,
Licia Bevilacqua.
Licia Bevilacqua stava raccontando. Sorry, wrong language. Licia Bevilacqua was actually saying that when we talk about inclusion, about integration, and about understanding, the role of working in schools is fundamental, because that is the place where, on the one hand, you can work together with the younger generation to build up a common understanding. But on the other hand, it's also the place where you can actually reach out to their families. So you have the opportunity of working on an intergenerational dimension.
E naturalmente quando si parla di processo di inclusione e di integrazione, io dicevamo oggi di migranti, ma in realtà il processo di integrazione e di inclusione non interessa solamente i migranti. Nel momento in cui dobbiamo includere, e che è il gradino superiore a quella che è l'integrazione, è chiaro che bisogna considerare il rapporto esistente internostre, cioè tra tutti noi, tra quella che è la parte docente, diciamo l'ex cattedra, e quella che è la parte che ascolta, in un processo di scambio di persona. E a mio parere il processo di integrazione, soprattutto dei migranti, ma ripeto di tutto quello che riguarda la persona, deve partire proprio dalla espressione, dalla parola persona e dalla semantica, dal significato che si dà alla stessa. Può tradurre, così vado avanti.
E poi così diamo anche la possibilità, effettivamente questo è un ottimo stimolo per avere anche commenti e domande anche riferite per fare il dialogo. The comment also was referring to the fact that a lot of this is related definitely to the inclusion of migrants, and there are obviously different steps to the level of inclusion and so on that we want to work on. But working in general with the people and the importance that we give to the word of person and the semantics that we use in our occasions of dialogues is fundamental.
Dietro la parola persona, infatti, si nasconde un mondo, si nasconde una storia, anzi si nascondono tante storie, perché ciascuno di noi come persona è costituito da una serie di elementi imprescindibili, da una meravigliosa oggi sintesi organizzata di elementi che non sono soltanto genetici. Nella scuola noi teniamo conto di questo, principalmente, anzi diamo per scontati i genetici, ma ci sono quegli elementi che sono cognitivo, emotivo, affettivo e relazionale, sulla base dei quali si costruisce l'identità. Parlare di identità, io dico, non è una parola univoca e monolitica, perché se la persona è un sistema straordinario, mosaicale di tutti quegli elementi, automaticamente deve essere considerata in una dimensione plurale. Allora le identità, ciascuno di noi è portatore di diverse identità che si incontrano empaticamente con quelle degli altri, e questo a livello interreligioso, a livello interumano direi, perché lo scopo della scuola è recuperare quella humanitas che costituisce il trade union tra ciascuno di noi.
Io mi scuso che non lo so tradurre tutto questo proprio bene. I'm sorry that I will not be able to translate this as well as it has been expressed in Italian, but I'll do my best here. So please, Tony, Asadi, and everybody that is following us, please be patient with my translation. It's not my main profession, let's say. But what was being said here, and I think it's also been brought up by you previously, is the fact of the role of the identity, which is not to be seen only as something that is genetic, but is something that is created by so many factors that are on an individual basis and on a community basis, given by emotions, given by personal history. And that's the role of the school, that has to be able to actually make sure that all these identities are brought together in a way that they can actually coexist. And this is a fundamental way for which we can actually create a humanity that actually recognizes the importance of these identities. And this is the fundamental role of school. So I think this is a very important...
soltanto se partiamo da questo presupposto della persona come insieme, mosaico, si può costruire quel mosaico che è la pace, perché anche la pace è una dimensione plurale che si riduce ad uno. Grazie.
Thank you. Again, so many questions are coming in. We have people, again, from all over the world watching us on YouTube. We have Facebook. We're live on Zoom. We also have students from MIU who are typing questions. We have people from all over the world. Wonderful. Peter has shared the link with some people. We're here for about roughly 30 minutes. So if you want to get your question in, we have about 30 minutes remaining in the session where we'll be able to take questions. Now, if you do go to villagiodellapace.org after the session, or maybe you went there earlier and you sent in your email questions, we did get those. So there is one from Francesca, and she's asking about the environment, between the fires in California, some of the things that are happening in regard to nature. And she's asking two things. One, when we talk about peace and respect for nature, are we also referring to respect for animals? And if so, what do you think about tackling the mistreatment of animals? So is there any panelists who would really like to answer that one? Dr. Nader, please do.
Yeah, there is a continuity in life. You know, when we talked about the unified field and we said it's the field of pure consciousness, we don't include only humans, but we include not only animals, but also the trees, and including the mineral life of the planet, which means the water, the air, the whole aspect of environment is all interconnected. Everything is very, very deeply interconnected. And it becomes a question of appreciation. You know, there is a saying in the English, but it's also in other languages, that beauty lies in the eyes of the beholder, which means what you see also depends on your nervous system and how you filter things. We've talked and we've just heard beautiful comments from the Imam and from Ms. Asadi and from Italy also about the importance of communication, the importance of integration, the importance of different religions talking to each other. But when we look at the history of mankind, we find that even one religion, same teachers, there is different interpretation and different understanding. So therefore, the messages which are supposed to be absolute, which are supposed to be perfect, have different ways of being looked at, different interpretations, leading actually to wars and conflicts and issues and divisions. How many, sects and divisions are in each one big belief system and among themselves. And therefore, it is a question of when you look at things, you look at them with what glasses. If you have yellow glasses, everything will look yellow. If you have green glasses, everything will look green. Red glasses, things will start looking red. And you are fighting for it because you see red. That's all what you see. So you can talk to somebody and say on an intellectual level, this has to be done. This is the best way to do it. That's the best way to do it. And that's very important. This connectivity, this discussion, this intellectual analysis is very, very important. I'm not grading that or saying it's not important. What I feel is most important is the colored glasses that we are seeing, and to recognize that we see things and filter them. Even scientifically, we know that. We know that our perception is different from what we are able to see on the physical level. Human nervous system can perceive only certain wavelengths of light, can hear certain wavelengths of sound, can analyze things from only certain perspectives. So our ability to see reality depends also on the filters that we have in our nervous system. And when we filter them through our nervous system, we get absolutely convinced that this is red because we have red glasses. This is yellow, the other person says. This is because they have yellow glasses. They will fight each other, not out of poor behavior or poor understanding, but simply because that's exactly what they see. They have prejudice. They have been prepared in a certain way. They have stresses. They have fears. They have expectations that are different and stresses that are different. So what we really need to do is remove these stresses and strains and difficulties in the nervous systems. And there are techniques to do that. You know, I'm talking about what we teach, what I teach, our program, but it could be other techniques, the transcendental meditation technique and other techniques that removes the stresses from the nervous system, removes the strain, and allow us to experience our true self. Thus comes the true identity, which we're talking about. If we talk about image of identity, it depends of so many factors that go on. As was beautifully said, it's not just the DNA, but the DNA itself can be allowed to express itself in a different way. And some things can be stopped, something can be activated. This is the whole field of epigenetics and all of that. And in any case, the identity ultimately should be the identity of the self, which means going back to the self and knowing that we as individuals ultimately are the same unified field that creates the entire universe, which means on the basis we have one field becomes fields of energy, fluctuations create elementary particles come together, they create molecules come together, they create the animals and the trees. But ultimately, all of these come from the same unified field, which is our self, which is our true inner being. By knowing that and experiencing that directly through transcending, we include in our awareness automatically the animals, the trees, the air, the water, in a very deep level, on a very deep level of awareness, a deep level of deeper understanding than even the intellect. It's a level of being, a level of existing. And then we know everything is myself, everything is one with me, I am unified. And then the differences are no more a threat to oneself, because the differences are experienced to be real only on the surface. The depths of reality is oneness. And by knowing that, through experiencing that directly, then we have an automatic, a spontaneous, positive reaction towards others of all kinds of beliefs or religions or cultures, towards animals, towards trees, towards the environment, towards life at all. Because it's the life that is in our veins, it's the life that is in our cells, it's the life of awareness, deep being, that is the one aspect of reality that appears as being different in so many ways. So it's very important to talk about it, discuss it intellectually, think of identity, but ultimately knowing that we are the sap of the tree that becomes the flower, that becomes the stem, that becomes the leaves. It's the same sap that changes and that transforms itself into so many other aspects. And if we know that individually and directly inside ourselves, our entire behavior, entire thinking, entire interpretation of our beliefs and our system becomes clear. We remove the glasses and we see things in the proper way for the benefit of mankind and for true peace to happen, something which all religions want, you know, in Islam, salam, assalamu alaikum, and of course in Judaism, shalom, and Christianity, may peace be with you, and the ancient tradition, shanti, shanti, shanti. Everybody calls for that. And that peace can only happen when we are not afraid of the other. And how not to be afraid of the other? By knowing that the other is myself. And knowing it not only intellectually, knowing it on an experiential level, being that, experiencing that, living that, and then action spontaneously becomes in tune with everything, in tune with the laws of nature that construct the universe and maintain it in perfect order.
Well, thank you. We have a few more questions coming up in the Q&A. I know we have another one for Asadi. We have one for the Imam in Rome, and we also will have somebody who's going to ask a question live from Rome. Dr. Nader, while we have you with us on camera, we understand that you recently were in an event called Veda for World Peace with the special guest, the Minister of Education of India. And we have several students from Maharishi International University, which focuses on consciousness-based education. So this might be a time to just ask you, how do you see, well, for those who don't know what consciousness-based education is, how do you see that playing into the role of finding peace, and maybe for some of these students to be able to rise to a higher level so that they can make a change in the world?
Simply, it's really what we have been saying, and that is consciousness is the unified field of creation, the unified field of being. And consciousness-based education is an education that not only gives information, but opens the awareness of the student. So it is not just developing the individual as an information computing machine, but as a holistic individual that can have broad comprehension, develop the full potential of the brain, develop the full potential of the individual by developing their awareness, their consciousness. Because ultimately, as we said, you know, if you don't have consciousness, or if your consciousness is clouded because you are tired, you are stressed, then you see the world through these filters. And therefore, even if the information is there, you're not able to enjoy it, you're not able to see it in the proper way, you are not able to channel it and make the right decisions. And if your awareness is clear, then you can see things in the most perfect way and the greatest way. You know, if you imagine life is like a movie that's going on, it's going on a screen. And if your screen is not clear enough, is not bright enough, doesn't have enough pixels, is dirty, then no matter how the movie goes or is how beautiful is the movie, it's going to be not seen properly. It's not going to be appreciated properly. So our consciousness is what allows us to experience things, and we can have different levels of consciousness. Like we have deep sleep, dreaming state of consciousness where things are illusionary. We have waking state, and even in the waking state, we have different shades of clarity, different broadness of understanding, different ability to see things from different perspectives. Whereas if one is stressed and narrow in their perspective, then they only see the whole universe from one small perspective. That's what I call in one of my webinars, do not fixate. Do not fixate on things. Do not become the object of small things that overtake you, because then your awareness is very narrow. You see the world only through that perception. Allow yourself to be broad vision, broad perspective. And there is a technique to do that. There is a technology of awareness, a technology of consciousness, that you can really broaden your awareness and experience yourself and know yourself to be infinity. So consciousness-based education is that education that develops the individual full potential, broadening the awareness, and then the information, of course, is necessary. The education and talking about things, learning about practical things to do are necessary, but these themselves are understood better, explained better, used better, and used to the maximum benefit for the individual and for society. So we have a tendency also to say we want total knowledge in one brain, not just total knowledge in the whole university or the whole world. And what this means is, by knowing yourself to be the unified field, you actually are established in that level that allows you to think and act in a spontaneous way in the right direction.
Thank you. We have, again, a question, I believe, coming live from Rome. So we will adjust the camera and the microphone for the person asking the question, and then we'll go straight from that question to an answer to another question for the Imam, since he is there live in Rome. And then Asadi, we will have your, actually, Asadi, why don't I ask you, oh, they're ready in Rome. Okay, we're going to go to Rome. Here we go. It's all fun when it's live. Here we go, going to you live for your question. Hello, the hall in Rome. We're ready for your question. Daniela, are you interpreting?
I'm in charge of translation. I see that there's a second person with questions as well after this. So people were getting shy at first. They're getting more comfortable now. So I think you're getting more questions now. Vai, Daniela.
Diciamo che non era proprio una domanda, era un intervento ispirato da un po' di quello che avete detto tutti. E in quanto giovane donna, mi ha colpito molto quello che ha detto la signora Shams, e anche in quanto appartenente a una minoranza religiosa. Io sono buddista, quindi anche i discorsi dell'Imam mi hanno ispirato rispetto a una considerazione che volevo fare con voi, che è suspense.
Danila wanted to say that it's not a specific question, but it's actually a reflection that she wanted to share, being a woman, being from a religious minority. Danila's Buddhist, so she thought also the words coming from the Imam were very inspiring, as well as also what Asadi Shams was saying also about young women having to sort of, take the role. And I say this also to my Italian peers, that we mustn't be shy, and this is also men and women, not to be shy about taking space also to make questions and comments. Non dobbiamo essere timidi a fare domande e commenti, perché da noi invece c'è non solo una questione di genere, ma anche una questione generazionale. Mi metto in mezzo ai vecchiacci che a volte non vi danno spazio, quindi se avete commenti e domande non siate timidi.
Sì, infatti è un po' questo il discorso, cioè nel senso, noi siamo partiti con, per questa giornata, no? Con la cosa di che cos'è la pace per ognuno di noi. E io mi sono chiesta tantissimo questa cosa, arrivando un po' alla conclusione che fondamentalmente il punto è, cioè, aspirare, no? Alla pace, quindi però quali sono le azioni, qual è il cambio di mentalità che ognuno di noi personalmente dovrebbe fare, perché poi quello che diceva la signora Bevilacqua, no? C'è una questione di pluralità, cioè noi spesso facciamo riferimento appunto a istituzioni, enti, organizzazioni. La realtà è che il cambiamento vero lo fa ogni singolo individuo, lavorando su se stesso. Quello che diceva il signor Nader è importante, no? Cioè guardarti dentro con degli occhiali ben lucidi, capire quelli che sono i tuoi limiti ed avere il coraggio di superarli. Cioè, secondo me il coraggio è la prima azione importante per aspirare concretamente a raggiungere uno stato di pace, no? Quando tu decidi di uscire dalla tua comfort zone. Quindi la mia vita è l'ufficio con i miei colleghi, sempre le stesse persone, torno a casa, sempre le stesse persone, il mio gruppo di amici. Come creo quindi una relazione con quello che è il futuro del mondo in cui vivo, in cui vivranno i miei figli, no? Come creo un cambiamento? Sì, perdonami.
È nel tuo interesse, più lo fai sintetico meglio te lo traduco. È per te, non per me. So Danila was saying that all the suggestions that were coming are related to the fact that it's a work that we have to do individually. So peace comes from the fact of realizing, just as Mr. Nader was saying, working on one's limits and then having the courage to try and overcome them so that one is also able to reach to the others. Questo è proprio, mi si è perso qualcosa. Vai.
Sì, sì. No, ecco, credo che sia un'azione di coraggio, no? E quindi il coraggio di guardarsi dentro e di scegliere di andare oltre e quindi di creare degli spazi per incontrare un altro tipo di persone, no? Cioè, rispetto alla nostra routine. Quindi, e questo si riallaccia un po' a quello che stiamo facendo oggi, e non è banale che tutti voi siate qui, chi online, chi offline, è un atto di coraggio questo, è uscire dal proprio ambiente familiare per mettersi allo stesso livello con altre persone, altre per tante categorie.
Fai la chiasa perché siamo un po' stretti con i tempi.
Ok, l'ultimissima cosa che volevo dire è che non è roba mia, cioè nel senso nel 1200, parliamo del XIII secolo, è passato tantissimo tempo e ancora purtroppo c'è da battere su questo punto. C'è stata una persona che ha detto tutta una serie di problematiche dovute alla società in cui nel XIII secolo questa persona viveva e sono dovute alla scala sballata di valori. Cioè nel senso che noi stiamo ponendo i valori sbagliati in cima alla scala. Okay. Purtroppo questo, a mio parere, avviene ancora oggi e quindi è riposizionare un attimo i valori con la vita e il valore della vita, quindi l'importanza dell'individuo al primo posto. Grazie a voi, scusate.
So Danila was saying that it was back in the 13th century, and we will get to know who it was exactly who said this. There was already a reflection going on about the values. And one of the problems that we have in our society is that we put at the top of the scale value that are the wrong ones. So actually being able to evaluate, to having a scale of criteria for the evaluation of what is right and what is good is fundamental. I know we're really short with time. So I asked the moderator if we have space for another question from Rome, and then also who I would ask to be short, effective, and possibly more question directed. So to help also the other moderators to feedback.
Right.
Can we?
We have 6 minutes total. So what we'll do is have the person ask the question, and then if it's fine for you, we'll have Dr. Tony Nader answer, then Asadi answer the same question. And then we will wrap. So let's get right to the question. Thank you so much. Here we go.
Yeah. So I'm Christine Engvig. I'm from Norway, and I'm here in Rome today. I'm the leader of a big women's organization called Women International Networking, and we work all over the world with women. And for the past 20 years, I've been working on this, and I'm just seeing right now how the world is changing and how peace is also coming because of this. And there is also some frustration, of course, but what is going on, I think, when we women and men, but particularly women now, are also saying no to unacceptable behavior, and then so this dance of or internal change, but this also masses of uprising now of people who have been dominated and who we have had the perpetrator, but they're now saying, well, I don't want to do this anymore. And then you have the change. So I wanted also your comment on this, that sometimes we think about, okay, peace is like a, yes, and peaceful. But how also peace can come from a fact that I'm saying, no, this is no longer okay. Please, a comment on that, please.
Dr. Nader?
The world is changing, and
yes, Dr. Nader.
You know, there was a time when we lived in the jungle and the circumstances were different. If you believe in evolution of Darwinism, whatever you believe in, it doesn't matter. It seems like that, at least. And at that time, there were circumstances that made, the protection of the children at the home and all that, and then the going out and fighting. So nature kind of led to a growth and evolution whereby muscles and strengths and all of that on the physical level were also very important, but also the maternal care and all of that was important. So society evolved in a way like this, but we are today on a different level of social understanding and social importance, and therefore the importance more is on intuition, clarity of thinking, ability to unify, friendliness, and that values that for the evolutionary power seem to have developed even more in the ladies and the women aspect of our reality, and therefore now they can be used in a fabulous way to create a more loving, caring, peaceful, harmonious society, while at the same time there is great intelligence that is there that will actually compete. So I see the rise of the woman part of our life that exists everywhere. Every one of us has also the muscles and the feelings and the intuition, but some aspects have developed more, and that kind of intelligence and even the mathematical intelligence and the mechanical intelligence is also available. It's only a question of developing it. So what is really needed is, of course, to say no and to do to give the answers, but raise consciousness on the individual and for society, so that the interpretation of what is better and not so good comes to clarity. And what will happen is men, I'm saying men, women, it could be of any neutral gender or whatever, all contributions to society, all are absolutely part of this beautiful diversity of nature. Then what is important is the success, the contribution, the ability to make things better. And I'm confident that as our societies grows, there will be much more importance given to the intelligence that is contributed by the women, the great women of the world. And as we see in the past, maybe because of muscles, their creativity or their contributions have been diminished or suppressed. But today, muscles, don't help you as much. What we need is more intelligence of unifying, more intelligence of protecting nature, more intelligence of protecting life, more intelligence of friendliness, more intelligence of coordination and coherence, more intelligence, in using digital systems and computers and unifying people, all kinds of intelligence. And this, I feel, women have in a wonderful way, and we look forward to see it used for a better, more peaceful world.
Thank you. And Asadi, I will redirect this just a little bit because our time is limited, but do you have any comments as far as male and female energy in the same person? Is that something, and of course, any other comments that you have?
I'm going to really briefly to tell just a small comment on the female or male part of our societies. I remember Simone de Beauvoir, she told, nobody is born like a man or nobody is born like a woman. It is a society that brings us as a woman or as a man. It's the cliches that we have in our societies. So, and I think if we have the same opportunity like men and women in our societies, we will have the same, attitude or the same just desires or wishes and just career or just taking care of child. The only difference that there is, it is just the ability to reproduction. And afterwards, if you look at the gender theory, if a young man has a child, it is the same, or he is in the same position as a woman that she has a child, and both, if they take the role of being parents equally. So for me, we are equals, but it is our societies that give us the different roles, and it is a little bit on our hands, if we are female or if we are male, to take the responsibility and then take care of children if we are men, and not, it is not the role of the woman that take care of children the whole lifetime, and just, or doing the same, I mean, house in the one, I mean, in the household, or just whatever. It is the role that we have to take into consideration, that we are at the universities or we are at the schools, both of us. Why afterwards, after that we finish the school or university, we take the role of a woman in the society, or we take a role, the man of the society. So it is an appeal to the younger people, please, just to take the gender theory or gender perspective into consideration, not a man or not a woman. It is only thing that I can tell you. And thank you very much. My time is real, just it is over, and I have to go to another meeting. Thank you very much. Thank you. Bye-bye.
For spending your time with us. And we actually also want to thank Dr. Tony Nader, and we also want to thank the Imam Pallavicini, who is in Rome. In fact, we're going to go back live to Rome for a brief close of today. Again, all of the students who have been online with us, Diego Flores, our senior in high school, who's looking at colleges and joined us as our production assistant today from Houston, Texas in the USA. And Dr. Nader, where are you right now? Where are you joining us from?
I'm actually in Italy, a little north of Rome. Not too far. I could have come and met with you, but I couldn't.
Excellent. So we're going to go back to our very COVID compliant hall in Rome for the close of our session. Daniela, off to you.
Everybody, we get some people also wanted to have further questions, and we apologize that we're going to have to close the session now. So we hope that there will be, anyway, when we switch to Italian, further space for questions and in the closing. But we also wanted to have a host from the municipality, from the District 8 of Rome, that is hosting us also, that was our partner and host in the event. Some closing words also to say thank you to everybody who joined us today.
Sì.
Vai.
Sarò abbastanza breve. Tanto benvenuti, però da tempo ormai vi state riunendo oggi durante il corso di questa giornata. Mi permetto di darvi il benvenuto perché questo posto straordinario dove ci siamo riuniti fa parte dell'8º municipio, non solo del Parco Regione dell'Appia Antica.
So you can, online, you can only see that there's a bit of green coming out of the window, but we're actually in one of the natural reservoirs in Rome. And so Amedeo Taccheri, who is the president of the District 8 of Rome, is hosting us because this space we're in is within the national park, the regional park, and also managed by the district. So thank you and welcome to everyone.
Questo è un posto naturalisticamente stupendo, anche architettonicamente stupendo, ma che ha anche un'identità molto forte, identità che si rispecchia in una comunità molto grande che ruota attorno al quartiere della Garbatella, che quest'anno fa 100 anni.
So this is a part of Rome that has a naturalistic, very important dimension, and that also hosts the neighborhood of Garbatella. For those of you not of Rome, you have to come and visit us. So you come and see the beautiful neighborhood of Garbatella, who celebrates 100 years today, this year.
Un quartiere operaio che festeggia quest'anno il suo anniversario e che è orgoglioso, nonostante il Covid, grazie al lavoro di Daniela, Clara, Anna Maria, potuto accogliere l'iniziativa del Villaggio della Pace all'interno di questo anno di anniversario e di festeggiamenti.
So it was an adventure that we're all here in having this moment of celebration of the Day of Peace, even in times of COVID, which did require a series of challenges, and we're here working together.
Pochissime parole per dire che il centrale di questo quartiere è un'occasione per parlare di quello che questo quartiere può rappresentare per il futuro di Roma e a livello internazionale. Questa iniziativa nasce quando ci siamo presi la responsabilità come amministrazione di lanciare un messaggio sulla pace a livello internazionale, scegliendo una comunità differente dalla nostra, la comunità di Riace, come candidata per il Nobel per la pace, perché ci siamo riconosciuti in quello spirito d'accoglienza e capacità di guardare al futuro con la tensione performativa nei confronti della pace. E il fatto che noi oggi siamo qua a ragionare intorno al tema della pace con questa stessa tensione è per noi un grande privilegio, perché quello che il nostro quartiere ha costruito negli anni, un quartiere che porta su di sé una tradizione antica ma che guarda con grande interesse e trasformazione al futuro, è quello di essere il terreno d'incontro di chi nel mondo in questo momento fa per la pace una scelta d'azione, una scelta di performativa, cioè prende parola e prende su di sé la responsabilità di diventare un testimone di pace nel mondo.
Okay. And the 8th district in the neighborhood of Garbatella that is celebrating 100 years is historically a working class neighborhood that had a lot of migrants coming from around Italy to work. And this is the spirit on which also nowadays the district is also very active on the topics of inclusion. So for example, they supported very much the figure of Mimmo Lucano and the experience from Riace in the south of Italy, which was a very innovative experience of migrant inclusion from refugees coming by boat to Italy. And they believe that this is the way forward, and the efforts in hosting the event of today on their territory was connected to the fact that they believe that this is the way forward towards peace.
Vi auguro buon lavoro per il resto dell'appuntamento e sono convinto che ci rivedremo ancora prima di marzo, sicuramente a marzo, ma ancora prima di marzo qua in 8º municipio, per il quale avrete tutto quanto il nostro supporto e la nostra gioia nell'accogliervi, nel lavorare insieme per questa città e per tutto quello che invece in ogni parte del mondo potremo contribuire a fare per questo obiettivo.
So thank you so much for the collaboration, for the people abroad online. Thank you very, very, very much. And there are space also for further collaboration with the people in Rome. So I look at the people here and I think we will further discuss then switching directly to Italian. So also not to make it difficult for the people that are following us online. But we really, really thank you, because sometimes in Rome, we're left a little bit outside of these international discussions. And it's a very fundamental moment for us to have the opportunity of really entering in dialogue also with realities from other countries. So it's so fundamental, and we thank you very, very much for taking the time for being with us in Rome. And next time you will join us in person and have a lasagna, vegetarian lasagna, or whatever you prefer, directly in person with us. And we're really looking forward to that.
We are all applauding from around the world as well. Thank you for inviting us to the 8th District of Rome. Again, thank you, Dr. Tony Nader, to all of our presenters today. Thank you to all of the students and young people who joined us online. We did not get to all of the live questions, and that means that we all need to come back for the next event that Villaggio della Pace has. Check them out at villagiodellapace.org. You can find Dr. Tony Nader at Dr. Tony Nader on his Instagram, Facebook. You can also find him online. Dr. Tony Nader is his website. And finally, you can find us, Maharishi International University in Fairfield, Iowa, or online. You can take classes from anywhere around the world, or you can join us here in the US. Just visit miu.edu. And again, thank you, Villaggio della Pace. Thank you, Utopian and the City of Rome for joining us all together for this International Day of Peace. Have a wonderful evening or day.